Hi, this is Sam Varner. I am your host of She Needs Grit podcast, and I am recording today from home. So there is both an audio and a video of this podcast. So if you want to follow along and watch me do this in person, talking to myself in a room, then please head over to YouTube, She Needs Grit, and you can watch the video there. If you are an audio person, I love it. Thank you so much for letting me into your ears and letting me talk business with you today. So, this is going to be a short and snappy kind of episode. I want to talk about the area that I think the vast majority of business owners that I see fall down on. Okay. So, we have talked a lot about how important it is, how critical it is to have new eyeballs on your business at all times, being available to make offers and talk to humans and engage with them when it comes to your business. And I hope that along the ways of listening to this podcast, you've come up with different strategies, different ways to do that, and you've started to implement more eyeballs on your business recently. So, what I want to talk about is the back end to that. So now you are engaging with humans in your business and they are seeing you, they are starting to know what you do, what you have to offer, who you are, what your personality is, all that sort of thing. And the number one thing that clients of mine and people that I'm out in the world talking to fail to do really well is the follow up. So I want to talk today. There are 5 pieces to follow up that I think are really critical. And this goes for people that you meet in networking events, online or in person. This goes for your social media engagement and the strategy around that, if that's what you're choosing to do. This goes for any sort of interaction you have with people. You talk about your business, they're engaged in that conversation. This is what you do next, right? Because otherwise, you've just talked to a ton of people and you're expecting your brain to remember all those people, what you talked about, what they are interested in, and to remember to follow up with them, to remember to reach back out to them. And I don't know about you, but I literally do not have space in my brain to remember stuff like that anymore. I feel like lately my kids are like, Mom, I already told you that. Mom, I already told you that. Yeah, I get it, guys. There's a lot of moving parts in our house. There's a lot of moving parts in my business. And maybe it's a bit of age. I don't know. I'm starting to accept that that might be the case. Either way, what it means is I need a system to remember things as opposed to just relying on that memory of mine. So let's talk a little bit about the 5 pieces that I think if you implement this and do it consistently, because the thing is, you can't just start, stop, start, stop. A consistent generation of profit from networking or engaging with humans comes from the follow up. It comes from having a system and a way to re engage those people in your audience, be it via email, newsletter, social media, interaction in person, all the things. Okay. So the first part to that is connect. We're going to talk a little bit about how critical it is that you are doing this. And I will reference back some of the things I've talked about in the past. But one of the things you need to determine in your business is how many people do you need to connect with to generate one sale? I want you to know that number. If you don't know that number, I want you to start tracking it because it gives you a really good indication of what are the daily activities you need to be doing to be able to hit those goals, right? It's just working that math equation backwards. So, I'm going to assume that you know that number. I'm going to assume that if you don't know that number, you just reach out to me in the DMs on Instagram, shecollective.biz, and I will help you figure out that number for your business. Okay. So you now know how many people you need to connect with every week. Now you need to schedule that into your calendar so that you are actually making an effort to do those connections. So I will give you an example of what I did this week. Okay. This week, I went to a small business expo event in downtown Houston, and it was kind of a trade show booth set up. So there are booths kind of lining the room, and I went around and talked to all the business owners. I am there for 2 reasons. I want to make sure that I am saying to at least 10 people in that particular venue that I am a profit coach and this is what that means. This is how I can help business owners. Now, I'm not necessarily trying to convince these business owners to hire me as a business coach. Okay. That's not necessarily my point. My point is, I'm going to these events to spread awareness, to let them know of the existence of myself, my business, my podcast, and invite them into my world so that they can start to see if we would be a good fit, if they need a business coach, or if they know somebody who does. I start to become the person that they're thinking about. So I go in with intentionality to this event. I'm also looking for people that would be great center of influences for me. So people that we have corresponding businesses, their clients might indeed be my clients. And so it would be really beneficial for us to have a reciprocal back and forth of exchange of clients, right? So I'm on the lookout for that at all times. Okay. So I've now done that. I've connected. I have come home. I have a pile of business cards. This is about half of the business cards that I have. And these are not business cards that I just picked up as if they were playing cards, okay? This is strategic taking of business cards of the people I've engaged with, I've had a conversation with, will at least have some awareness of who I am when I reach back out to them. So that's the first thing I do is I go and I find the people. Okay, there's lots of different ways to do that, to find the people, but this is, sorry, I'm looking backwards because the dog just walked in and kind of freaked me out. Okay, so now we've connected with people. This can be coming from your social media or this can be doing something in person. But the next stage to this is you have to record who you met, where they are, and why you want to reconnect with them. What is the thing that you want to engage with them on? Is it a center of influence relationship you want to start? Is it instead a circumstance where they have said, "Ooh, I need a profit coach. That would be great. I would love to have a conversation." Those things are different, right? So you want to make note of, on the business card is often a great place, of just who you talked to, who they were, and what the conversation was. You come home and you put it into your CRM. Now, your CRM doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to spend a lot of money on this. You can if you want, because it does help with automation. We can talk about that a little bit later, but you need to record them. You need to make sure you have a place where you now have their information and you can start to do a follow up. Within 3 days is my rule that I follow up with people that I've met. So that is either sending them a text message or an email, just saying, "Hey, it was great." So this is in person networking. "Hey, it was great to meet with you. I loved about blah, 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 blah." Whatever that connection piece that you've managed to establish. Do they have kids similar ages? Do you live in the same type of location? Do you have similar clients? Did they make a comment that you just loved? For me, it's often there's a connection over me being Canadian or doing a lot of travel or not being from Texas originally. These types of things come up and you can learn a little bit about them, which makes you stand out. So that goes all into the recording of it, be it your spreadsheet or your CRM. And then you're engaging within 72 hours. So you want to strike while the iron's hot. People, especially at those kind of events, have met a lot of people, or people that are reaching out to you by DM in social media. 72 hours is long. If you can do it within 48 hours, that's fine, but you want to engage. "Hey, thanks for the follow." If they reach out and send you an actual DM and they're asking you questions about your business, I want you to be engaging and having a conversation with them as soon as you possibly can, while still working your business the way that you want. This is not I'm a 24-hour 7-Eleven. Don't do that. Okay? You just work within the confines. People respect that you're not going to get back to them immediately because they're also busy in their business, right? They're also generating stuff, working, that kind of thing. We cannot be at the beck and call of people. So we've started our engagement. Most of the time, what I want to achieve out of that engagement is some sort of one-to-one meeting. So if there is a connection there or a potential opportunity as a client, or I think that their client base is my client base and vice versa, I want to encourage them to meet me for coffee, do a Zoom meeting, have some sort of a phone call, engage in a way that you can deeper understand their business and how you can help them. This is coming always from a place of service, not a place of expectation. If you go into these relationships expecting that somebody is going to be a client, send you referrals, do something for you to benefit you, you're coming at it all wrong. You want to engage from a place of how can I help you? I know we had a great connection the other day. What is it that you need right now that you can provide? You are capable of helping people, and coming from a place of service is a much more gentle approach than that spammy sales stuff of like, hey, we need to get together because I have a product for you or I have a service for you. That's not helpful. Okay. The fourth piece is automation and reminders. You want to start having regular touch points with the contacts that you make. So there may not be an immediate connection, there may not be an immediate circumstance, but you could invite them onto your newsletter. You could invite them to listen to a podcast if you have a podcast. You could just re engage them every quarter to find out how they're progressing through the thing that you've been talking about. Putting that on automation does two things. A, you don't forget about them. That's really important. B, it allows you to stay top of mind with people without being annoying. You can just reach back out with those notes that you have. You have enough detail behind you to find something in common and reach back out. That's really critical. Then it is repeat, putting them in the pipeline, having that conversation, finding out how you can help them and doing so immediately, and then automating your responses and repeating over and over again. If you do this, you stand out. The vast majority of networking events that I go to or people I engage with do not follow up with me. How many of you are in that circumstance? How many of you can think of a handful of people you've met in the last month that you really should talk to because they seemed interested or had something valuable to say and you haven't followed up? This is leaving money on the table. This is how you can go from a little bit of profit to quite a bit of profit without a lot of effort. This is just consistency and follow up. So, if you like this episode, I would love for you to leave a review wherever you listen. Share it with a friend. If you have a business bestie and you know that they need this kind of knowledge in their life, I would be so grateful if you could share this episode or any of the episodes that you found super valuable. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys next week.